Exercise 1. We are often told that there is no innovation without competition, which is absurd given that most of the greatest innovations in science and technology have resulted from the sharing of research across academic silos, national borders, and language barriers. In truth, no great innovations occur in isolation. Personally, I have been asked to sign an awfully large number of non-disclosure agreements from other researchers terrified that their ideas will get out. But in truth, I found this approach counterproductive. Those who hold their cards too close to the vest are rarely the ones who play the winning hand. It is when we share our findings with people with other areas of expertise or perspectives, or seek feedback about our concept from someone in a different field, or try out our idea with potential users, that suddenly the real potential starts to emerge. Exercise 2. A family from Israel who moved to Northern California was amazed by the isolation they experienced when they moved into their San Francisco neighborhood. They had lived in a kibbutz, where they experienced a strong sense of community in every sense of the word. When we moved here, said the father, it was culture shock. People nodded and smiled with a brief hello coming and going, and then disappeared into their own dwelling, and we wouldn't see them again for days at a time. One night, my wife suggested that if the mountain wasn't going to come to Mohammed, then Mohammed must go to the mountain. It was at that point that we realized we had a gift to bring to our neighbors, the gift of community. Over the next few months, the family organized a block party, a neighborhood yard sale, and an open house brunch. Each was a big success. People became friends, and the connections snowballed. A small babysitting co-op began in the neighborhood, as well as a family neighborhood cleanup event that took place at the beginning of each season on a Saturday morning. Exercise 3. It may sound rather trite to say that the first function of the picture is to show its object, but the object of the picture is not always the one you think it is. It's obvious through the photographs the journalist brings back from the field that he shows the situation he witnessed. Through the paintings he produces, the painter shows his subject as much as his own sensibility. And the filmmaker, through the film he makes, can also show his own vision of the world. Thus, through these few examples, you can understand that behind the open door, several differences are hidden. But perhaps that's not the main thing. In fact, whether it's fictional or informative, it is very rare that the picture isn't accompanied by a comment, however incomplete it may be, that specifies its meaning or context. It may be a title in the case of a painting, an article of several hundred words in the case of a press photo, or the outlines of a scenario in the case of a film. Exercise 4. To destroy a whale is a monumental denial of life, and merely one symbol of the human species' rather recent hatred for the world. We have named one whale Killer, but that shoe best fits the species who possesses feet to wear it. Whales are more appreciated than ever, and whale watching yields more lucre than killing does. In that appeal to our self-centeredness lies their best hope. But even if all of us gain the emotional and intellectual maturity to finally divest ourselves from harming them, we may yet lose them in an ocean of plastics, chemicals, fishing tangles, spinning propellers, speeding hulls, and noise. All whales now have trouble competing with the aquatic primate for the fishes of the seas. The more humans fill the world, the more we empty it. Exercise 5. There are people who do not obsessively go after the latest digital devices, taking their time before changing hardware. There are even some people who have developed a taste for vintage technology, not only for vintage decoration or fashion. None of these cases reveal an ultimate or total renouncement of technology, but rather a temporary interruption of its use, or a preference for a slower pace. We consider it appropriate to include in this list the so-called slow movement, with its taste for slowness and tranquility, since often technologies are used precisely to speed up some processes in life. The movement was born as an alternative to fast food, but quickly it spread to other realms of life. Whoever chooses slowness may indeed practice a form of technological silence. In this path of slowness, we also find the many forms of meditation, whether traditional or new, that are so fashionable nowadays and that can be seen as a way to temporarily refrain from technology. Exercise 6. Modern scientific writing in English began in the 17th century, with authors such as Francis Bacon, Robert Boyle, and Isaac Newton. This period was characterized by intense debates over the nature of language generally. At issue was the presumed power of words to control knowledge, as Bacon put it, to force and overrule the understanding, throw all into confusion, and lead men away into numberless empty controversies and idle fancies. Bacon was thus the first to claim revolt against Elizabethan styles of writing, which of course included Shakespearean drama. These, he said, pulled a veil between the intellect and the world. To advance knowledge, especially the new experimental philosophy, there was a simple, direct, and unadorned form of speech needed. This would lift the veil and provide an equal number of words as of things. Exercise 7. That so many species now live alongside us in human-modified environments, whether on intensive farmland in Britain or in regenerating forest in Costa Rica, is not to say that any human society, past or present, has ever lived in harmony with nature. This is absolutely not the case. The harmonious coexistence of humans and the rest of nature in the distant past is a romanticized and largely fictional notion. Present-day conservation often attempts to recreate these idealized ecosystems, for example, by the reintroduction of hunter-gatherer style burning of vegetation in America, Africa, and Australia, and by reinstating now uneconomic medieval farming and forestry practices in Europe and Asia. In truth, our relationship with nature is, and always was, less romantic. We eat nature. We take up space that wild nature would otherwise occupy. We have used whatever technologies have been available to us at a particular time to consume or oust wild creatures, often with great success. As a consequence, we are living through a time of extinction. Exercise 8. Emerson said, "What you are speaks so loudly that people can't hear what you say." Of course, one of the greatest principles of effective advertisement copywriting is to believe yourself what you are trying to make others believe. Somebody asked me in the marketing course I was giving at New York University, "What do you think is the first requirement for success in advertising?" I said, "Good health." That is nothing to laugh about. I can't conceive how a dyspeptic could write good mincemeat copy, or a man with rheumatism could write about the joy of riding over mountain roads in an automobile. You have to have good human equipment to enjoy the things you are trying to sell, or you can't make other people enjoy them. I believe the public has a sixth sense of detecting insincerity, and we run a tremendous risk if we try to make other people believe in something we don't believe in. Somehow, our sin will find us out,